Hey, it's Janky Jolteon. I'm Bree, and this is Diana. We're going to be reacting to the final one in Vincent's tale, Starry Night. I just had Diana watch all of the Night 1, Night 2, and Night 3 videos, so she's caught up. So we're going to be reacting to this one together. I heard it play in the background, but I wasn't paying full attention, but there was definitely a lot to it, so I wanted to go back over it again.
I'm guessing it's your favorite based on your tights. You're dressed for the occasion.
Maybe. It's festive. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
I like how that looks like horns.
Yeah, I also like the background of his head. So, fun fact that people don't know, during the pseudoscience part of behavioral health and things like that, there was an argument, I forget exactly who, I'd have to pull it up to cite or anything like that, but there was a gentleman who theorized that you could discover criminology by the shape of somebody's head. Mm-hmm. Like, they would shave their heads and they'd be like, see if the head is smooth here or lumpy there, that's because they're criminals. And I think it's interesting that we have a close-up. I mean, that's his normal cut, but we have this close-up of his head where there's the horns and where you can see the back of his head.
Psychoanalyze his head shape.
Yeah. Which is kind of what they're trying to make a decision on Vincent.
Right. Now, I gotta wonder, like, at point in time, is that injury from the guards kicking his ass in the other video, or is that from Richard slamming him to the ground?
This might be later on because he seems more confident. Like, before he was more timid. Like, didn't want to come out of his room or anything. Now he's walking almost like he owns the place.
Right.
So I think he's acclimated to the area.
How do I begin? Wait a minute, I know. Step 1, I repent. Step 2, let me go. No, 3, maybe I show you remorse for my crime. Fuck that, let me speak my mind. So allow me to introduce myself to your manifestation of everybody in this room. Duh, ever felt discarded by a system that's regarded to be something for the people, but the people disregarded, it's retarded. Putting all the power in the palms of the heartless. Lions don't care when chewing on carcass. Homeless levels rise and the politicians pardon slave.
Okay, I like this. So he's kind of going off like, I represent all of you here, you know, we're all criminals because this system has failed us.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is funny because really, I mean, sure, there's a sympathetic aspect to him, but he was a drunk asshole who killed somebody.
Right, absolutely.
Like, I think he's just rolling with it. I think, like, he's as opportunistic as the other. I mean, not as predatory as, like, big business and corporations, but I think, like, from his mentality, he's opportunistic.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you're a hero, you did that intentionally. He's like, yeah!
You know, I'm thinking you are correct, but I think the highlight they're trying to make is that this is going to keep happening. People are just going to keep senselessly murdering, senselessly doing crimes just because humans suck, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what if there was a root factor we could address that, you know, like, it's not that Vincent deserves his freedom or anything, but maybe we should be attacking the system rather than the symptoms of the system that keeps screwing up.
Well, I think that's part of it, too. I think that this focus of trying to place blame has given it's a distraction, too. He's playing, instead of being this voice who could be like, yeah, this is what it is, he's playing into it, too. It's the idea that this, like, this opportunistic thing is using to distract from the problem. And it can be on both sides, because he is trying to be a little bit self-serving, you know, but that's part of it, too. And I think that's the propaganda they do, too, is, you know, oh, well, you know, this one person's not deserving of it, so clearly that's not the problem.
Right.
Labour wage, docking pay for the farmers. Britain, Great Britain, no, you're a slave. Great Britain, tax bracket rise, grow. Give a tax break for a suit and tie on the low. Well, the everyday people getting fucked till they broke, so let me unload, I'm on a roll. I never vote, big in the polls, Britain the road, who to control when there is no food in the bowl. It's a low blow, representatives don't show empathy. Plain to see, represent me, no soccer. Britons break backs just for bread and butter. Fuck the PM, did they stutter? In the PM, there'll be bodies in the gutter. Blood stained hands, milk up all lands other. 9 to 5, I can't survive away just to work in a job that can't provide. It's by design, my hands are tied. I climb that, on this that. How the fuck can I pretend it's fine? The water is never wine. A pig steps to the slaughter before your eyes. It's for the new world order, except our minds. Court of law, a horse who will bend for bribe. All the while, people watch reality TV, sleep easy, wake and repeat the cycle. Are you taking the Michael? Better beat it up. City full of sheep tweeting on the social media. Tabloid twisting tails and it's causing mass hysteria. Polarize the people, never by the hand that's feeding you. When it comes to war, they'll be calling for you, needing you. Fighting for a cause that wasn't yours, then leaving you. Hyperpolarizing the left and the right. Are you woke? Are you racist? Black? Are you white? Are you all for the Brexit? Make a swift exit. The NHS rots. Where was tax directed? Look, there goes another fucking puppet elected. Dance, little puppet, dance for the neglected. Impunity from
The narrator from Vincent. I like how he plays so many characters. Like, I like seeing just him all over the place. It's kind of amusing how he plays such different characters so well.
And I like, so what it was, I'm trying to say it a little bit better than what I was saying before. I think part of it too is that, like the line where he said he never votes. I think that that's part of the commentary too. The fact that Vincent isn't the perfect victim of the system. He's a victim of the system, but he's not a perfect victim of the system. There's some accountability with him. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's, because I think especially in this political climate, that's, part of the criticism too. Obviously, the regime and Citrus Hitler are like the worst part of it. But it's important to call out the other side too that are complicit with the ones who aren't doing enough to block it, the ones that aren't calling for impeachment, the ones that aren't...
The system's corrupt from all angles, and we're just seeing what happens when we argue with each other for long enough. The problems just evolve to a point that we're too busy fighting each other to fight the problem.
And also, every side can be distracted by self-interest. So, like, he could be somebody who speaks for this, but instead he's trying to become a symbol for his own self-interest. As far as we can see right now, the things we've established from him is that, he's definitely not the most sympathetic victim. Right. That he could. And it was a senseless crime that's being built up.
You stabbed somebody out of cold blood, you should probably be in prison, Yeah. And I don't, in the courtroom, they weren't arguing whether he was guilty or innocent, they were arguing his motive.
Yeah, which is interesting because it should have been about guilty or innocent.
Right. So I think that's where Dr. Price comes in, and, it's an experiment we all know how this is just literally a person who did something for no reason.
Yeah, and but we're going to make it into we're going to form it into what fuels our agenda.
Mm-hmm. After watching the Nights 1, 2, and 3, I theorized that the Sick Boy episodes might be the future version of what these experiments lead to. But with that in mind, Vincent's prolific case, that gets everyone's eyes right where they need to be. So if it does what they think it's going to do, it's going to be easier to get people to latch on because it's a celebrity.
Yeah, and I think that falls into it too. Even the doctor is feeding his own agenda. Like, he didn't really care about whether or not this was right or wrong. It was an opportunity for him too to talk about, let's change the light bulb.
Yeah, and he called him an interesting specimen.
Yeah, and it does have a lot of Clockwork Orange allegory and stuff with that. But I think if it does turn out
Clockwork Orange, Vonnegut, George Orwell, and Black Mirror, and then just Ren's creative genius just topping that all off.
Flies come to be expected. Sever head of Hydra, 2 parties resurrected.
I will always love all of those mythological references. He made a lot of them in Slaughterhouse, the song. So when he releases Slaughterhouse, the album, I'm really hoping there's more of that.
To potentially support that theory too, he is wearing Sick Boy gloves. I think the pinky has it's hard because he's moving his hand.
Oh yeah, because the Sick Boy episodes were to promote the clothing line, and I haven't seen the gloves on the clothing line, but hey, maybe that's a new release that's going to come into it.
Yeah, it very much did look like the sick boy symbol on the pinky, if you'll look, when he's doing his thing. I also like that his outfits remind me of early Marshall Mathers, reminds me of 8 Mile. He's, especially right now with the black eye, this is very much Marshall's outfit in 8 Mile, and I just love that.
Yes, I am the malevolent, degenerate delegate. Incarcerate the truth, keep it separate. The fabric of society is dead liquor. They don't want me in the room, I'm the elephant. Let's go. I guess I was fucked from the get-go. Wrong place and wrong time, guess so. Wrong planet, wrong mind. Guess you could say I was destined to break, because I get no satisfaction. I roll stoned, ETAs with ET, I phone home. ETC, don't blink, life is gone. Time don't wait, the show.
The pig masks, it's tying right back into those sick boy things he did. Like, I mean, I know he makes a lot of references to his own work, but maybe it's more than just Easter eggs. Maybe all of his stories are going to be tied together at some point, like his tales, but then, like, there's a lot of money game references, a lot of sick boy references. Maybe it's all just, like, one project that we're getting, like, out of order, bouncing around. Yeah. And then at some point it's going to be a little bit more obvious that they're connected.
Yeah.
Show must go on in London underground, come rain and thunder. Junkies, drunks and punks stung by the hunger. God is good until life push you under. One by one become cold like the tundra. One by one cast out like pariah. Sever heaven body, so body bow to Messiah. Boy cry wolf, everybody soon expire. Run little liar.
Okay, I like the whispering repetitively, kind of like in one of the Vincent's tales. They were doing that to Vincent, just whispering his name over and over. Okay, but the range of voice he can get is just phenomenal. I think that's some of the highest pitch I've ever heard out of him, but that was beautiful.
There's no democracy. Democracy ain't corporate lobby free for all. Democracy ain't rich boys, silver spoon seniors. Democracy ain't eating up a lie, then forgiving you. Democracy ain't choosing between herpes or chlamydia. Democracy, hypocrisy, a synonym entwined. Take a baby, then deliver him, position him in line, and then imprison him, condition him in school to make him blind. After they christen him, the Father, Son, the ghost, we're not the mind. We are divine, we lose potential when we gravitate degree. We are benign, we turn to cancer when we take more than we need. We are designed to be magnificent, we waste that when we walk. Starry night, the plight of Vincent inside cell block 44.
Okay, that's just beautiful. I'm gonna go back and...
They christen him, the Father, Son, the ghost, we're not the mind. We are divine, we lose potential when we gravitate degree. We are benign, we turn to cancer when we take more than we need. We are designed to be magnificent, we waste that when we walk. Starry night, the plight of Vincent inside cell block 44.
Just basically highlighting humans are supposed to be something greater, but we keep taking the wrong step, and that's why we're such a terrible species. It's not us, it's our decisions.
And I like that he said, we become cancer when we take more than we need, because it does. I have this theory that once you establish a certain amount of wealth, anything over it becomes this like serotonin addiction, because there is a lot of satisfaction in having enough for safety, stability, security. And there's actually a few studies. Again, I don't have my sources, I just
Money
know
doesn't
knowledge.
buy happiness, but it buys stability, which is required for
Yeah. And fun fact, money doesn't buy happiness is actually a phrase that they turned around. Money doesn't buy happiness used to be a condemnation of the rich who wouldn't pay enough taxes. It was the idea that you cannot take that with you when you die. It will not buy happiness, so you should invest it back into your society, your community, to do more health, to help other people. You can't buy happiness with money, but you can buy health, safety, security. So it's a lot like a lot of those different phrases, like blood is thicker than water. That's actually, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which actually means the bonds forged in war are more important than the ones that you were born with. So all of those phrases, just like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, that was again a thing that was said to show how insane that was. Because if you think about it for 2 seconds, pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps is impossible. And that was but a lot of the higher, I don't like calling them the elite, the parasitic class have used that as a way to condemn poverty, as a social failing, as a personal failing versus
you'll get
social.
what you want.
Yeah, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, which is not possible. It's not possible, and that's what the phrase originally meant. Like, it was to highlight the idea of how impossible and how inane that is a thing to say.
That makes sense.
But, like, when he said you become cancerous when you take more than you need, you do. Like, a lot of times hoarding wealth is what damages a society, which decays a society, which, like, money is a concept that we've given power. And we've given enough power where people can rape children.
Pause that thought for 1 second.
Yeah.
For context, I have not made her watch any of the Money Games yet. That is next on our list, but please continue.
Cool. Well, I already...
It'll just make the next video even better,
Yeah.
but please go on.
But it's the idea, we've given it power, and it's really nothing. It's a concept that we've given power, and it's ridiculous the amount of power it's given, the things that it allows people to get away with. Because somebody has a lot of money, they can kill somebody, they can rape people, they can buy children, and they get away with it because of that.
Also,
and it's
release the files. It's been 6 weeks since the court-mandated release. Just get it over with. We already know what's on them. Just get it over with.
Or just believe the victims. That would, the survivors, that would be also a thing that you could do. But I love that line, you become a cancer, because you do. Both in the sense that when you hoard wealth, you damage everything around you like a cancer. You decay your society, your community, your fellow human beings. But also I think it becomes a cancer for them. It's something that consumes them. I have this theory. I have no proof of it other than the study that shows that after a certain level of income, you actually don't achieve any additional happiness. I forget the exact number, but they've actually done studies where they found that after you reach this threshold, no extra thousands, millions, billions will improve your life in any way. It doesn't improve your mental health, it doesn't improve your life, it doesn't cause anything more. But I think for the people who get it, it's almost like a sickness. It's almost an addiction, because you'll see these rich people hoard money that they could never use. If they lived to be 12,000 years old, they would never use it all, but they continue to hoard it, and I think it's because it becomes a sickness, an addiction. It's this thing where they're desperate for that feeling again, and they don't have any other way to get it, because to accumulate that wealth, you have to sacrifice all your other bonds. So it's a cancer in that it's a cancer to the rest of society, but it's a cancer for them too. When you take more than you need, you lose all the ways to gain satisfaction. So you're stuck in this constant cycle of trying to hoard wealth, hoping it'll make you feel better, hoping it will make you feel whole, but it never does. It just keeps making you sick. And it punishes everybody else too. I pity you if you weren't hurting the rest of us and buying children.
War inside myself, the war of every working man. The war of what's and why's and how's and when's the time to take a stand. And who's the one to put me in my place? You or is it God? It's compliance, staying silent. If defiance comes from love, I come from love. I come from hope, I come from truth, I come from trust. I am the last remaining push inside a world that turns to dust. Against the people so determined all to die. And for what? Love of power, love of money, love of ego, love of lust. What about love for the sake of love? What about really loving us? But I mean really love.
That's the outfit Van Gogh wears in Self-Portrait. That they did a really good job of recreating that.
Down to the texture and the tweed and everything.
That means that I, the me, myself is you, and so we're we in one. And there's never separation while we're moving round the sun. For the cell of every sentient, it shares a single song. And that's the song of sweet creation. Do you hear the minstrel strong? For there's more to music. Life is music. Music is the tongue in the mouth of Mother Earth, and her heart beating is the drum. Hear it, hear it, hear it. That's that thunder in your chest that lets you know that you belong. We are one, we are one, we are free to one song. Something better, yet reset so we can all live on.
So I really like the peaceful vibe that hits with basically war breaking out in the background.
I also like that they're not looking on in savage triumph, like in savagery or triumphance. They're looking on in this kind of soft awe, this hope for change, but they're not relishing in the violence around them. They're
not excited by the violence, they're excited by like, wow, what comes after this?
Yeah. And they're disgusted but not surprised.
Right.
It's kind of the vibe I get from it. You know, they're not cheering it on, they're not engaging it. They're looking around in almost this way of, you know, I'm not surprised that this is happening, and almost this hopefulness of what comes next.
Vincent, Vincent, Vincent! Oh good, he's waking up.
These are my two favorite characters, Vincent and Percy Price.
Vincent, dear boy, I can feel your frustration, but you're in very safe hands here now. Please be patient. You see, we are the cutting-edge rehabilitation. Don't you feel so excited for this new innovation? Nah, gods, what the fuck, man? I think I wanna leave. Oh, leave? I'm afraid that's impossible, see? You see, we're part of a new program. It's a government scheme. We're making gentlemen from criminals, and that's what you'll be. With a brand new method, the sort of trials and tests. Like our good God's son, you'll be resurrected. What the fuck you on about? What kind of brand new method? Well, we take the frontal lobe and we kind of dissect it. With your synapse augmented.
Kinda dissect it.
With our new serum injected, it aims to recorrect the parts of you we know are defective. There'll be discomfort in your cerebellum, that is expected. Hey, if progress wants a price, let it. Guards, this one will do. Yes, this one's fine. Take him away.
Cliffhanger of the century.
So I think, if it does turn out that you're correct with, you're correct with your idea that Sick Boy also connects with this, I think part of that too will be the fallacy of Percy, because, he's also he's deifying, which I think is kind of funny, because, it was called Pandora's Box and Prometheus and things. He's deifying Vincent. He's subscribing motives that are just presumptions. Mm-hmm. Like, what happened is he was a bitter, angry guy. He was drunk. He was used to yelling at, cussing at people, and somebody confronted him. And honestly, seeing his scaredness this time, I think he's used to his brash assholeness just having him dismissed, because most people seem to just dismiss him. But when he was confronted, he's like, I don't know what to do with this. Mm-hmm. And I think it was very much a panicked moment. It doesn't excuse what he did. He took somebody's life, but I think it was a panicked moment. But everybody around him is assuming that he is much smarter, much eviler. Like, they're just making all these presumptions about who he is. Mm-hmm. And I think all these presumptions are to fit their own agendas. And I think that's part of what's going to mess it up. Because he's like, oh, this is the perfect guy. He's ascribing to this guy that there's some kind of uniqueness to him.
Right.
When there really isn't.
Yeah, and kind of like in Sick Boy, he was going off about Brigitta's character. There's something special about her,
Yeah, and they're ascribing, they're, assuming, difference and specialness that may not be there. It's the presumption, it's the fallacy of perspective. Everybody assumes their own perspective is the correct perspective.
Right. And I also want to throw in for context, on Twitter a few nights ago, Ren was talking about when he was 14, he read a thing called the Venus Project.
14 again.
14, yeah. I just noticed that. But it kind of painted his viewpoint on society and all that. And I've only kind of surface level looked at it, but it is absolutely fascinating. And I ordered the book, and I'm going to be looking more into it. But basically just creating a society where our basic needs are met just by existing. And it's not even really talking about massive changes, just filling a more sustainable model for human life. And it's really fascinating, honestly, but you can kind of see how that would paint, the way he puts off the tales, the way he puts off money game, the way how society is broken. He's not really talking about, politics one way or another, but more how people by default are just used to a system that is going to be our own downfall. And if we just try to break away from that, then maybe there is something better for humanity. I find the cover of the book looks really similar to depictions of Atlantis, a utopia. So I find that kind of fascinating.
Yeah, and it's interesting and it's sad because, it's not necessarily a problem with capitalism, because capitalism, when it was at its conception, bred a lot of innovation. Mm-hmm. However, when it lost sight of what it was supposed to be, it became this thing that intentionally manufactures scarcity.
Right. And that's capitalism, if our basic needs were met, like housing, medical, just food, just things that every human needs to survive, if that was met, capitalism wouldn't be as harmful. People could sit on all the wealth they want, but there's not people homeless in the streets or being ignored in hospitals. It's a different story.
Yeah, there was this video I saw where somebody was like, socialism for the things you need to survive, capitalism for the things that you want. You know, when it comes to housing, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to food, those are socialism things. EBT is technically a socialism thing. It's the idea that you do the collective to make sure that
schools.
Yes, so are public libraries. And if you had that, you could still have capitalism. It's not the idea that you could abolish capitalism. Capitalism can be for phones, for cars, for amusement rides. You know, if people's basic needs were met, they're still going to want other things. They're going to want them more. People are going to want paper so they can draw, computers so they can do reaction videos. They're going to still want things, and you can still have capitalism. You just don't have to manufacture. Like, people die unnecessarily every single day. That is a fact. I don't care what you think or you believe. That is the reality. There are people who die because they can't afford to go to the hospital. There are people who die because they don't have a house and it is cold. There are people who die because they don't have food. There are people who die because they have diabetes and they don't have insulin. People die every single day for no reason other than the fact that it's been manufactured that way. We have the ability to not let people die of exposure, of starvation, of thirst, of diseases, of things of that nature. We have the ability. We just don't, because it would
in the pockets of the rich.
Yeah, and it would be better for even them. There's one. He wasn't a millionaire, but he wasn't a billionaire. I mean, he was a millionaire. Jonathan Price, who had he actually cut his own salary to increase the salary of all of his workers, and he advocates all the time on Twitter. Actually, he'll talk about it. He's like, I brought down my thing, and people got more productive. People were happier. People stayed in the job more. People, like, his business flourished when he took care of the people. Like, it got to the point that they all saved up money. Like, his entire employees saved up money and bought him a Tesla before they knew about everything.
As a business owner, people are like, how could you be against capitalism and own a business? And, well, like Ren, I'm not particularly against capitalism. I'm against people dying in the streets while people have 6 yachts.
And buy children.
But my thing is, like, I do have to run a money-making model to run a business, but I make sure my employees are fairly paid. I do everything I can to be how I wanted to be treated as an employee. Yeah. And that's just something that's not available in a lot of job settings, because employees are treated more like slaves, and that just never sat right to me. Like, we're all forced to follow this terrible model of society. We might as well make it more pleasant for each other until we find a better option.
Yeah, and that's all that's being asked for. They say that's far thinking and horrible thinking, and it's radical thinking. It's not. It's like, hey, don't let everybody die of things that don't let people die of preventative things, and don't let really rich people buy children. That's not a whole lot to ask for. And there are places. It still
baffles me that America is the only developed country without healthcare for the general population. Like, at what point is it just a better functioning society if the average person isn't sick?
Yeah.
I think we'd function a lot better if we just coughed up the bill to make everyone get equal access to healthcare.
With universal healthcare, it's the idea that you're paying that, you're just paying it with your taxes. Your money goes there, and then everybody gets a healthcare where there isn't co-pays and things like that. And a lot of the, like you said, a lot of the other developed nations have that.
And you know how many developed nations have decided it was a bad idea and undid it? 0.
No.
Not a single one of them has undone that system, because clearly it benefits society. Like, there's probably going to be some difficulties adjusting. Like, here in America, if we suddenly got unified healthcare tomorrow, you're going to have people that have been neglecting themselves for decades, rushing to the hospitals. We're going to be overflowed. We're not going to have the staff. And people are going to be like, see, this was a terrible idea. But after that levels out, I feel like we'd just be a healthier place in general, and a big factor of stress would be out of people's lives. And less stressed out people don't stab people in alleys.
Yeah, when you have a society in which the need is met, there is less violence, because violence is just a reaction of need. It's just the other side of fear and anxiety, and fear and anxiety comes from an inability to get your needs met. Like, I believe Denmark is the place that has a established basic universal income. And, like, if you look at the statistics, they're one of the happiest and healthiest places. And it does really help. But you can't have that here because
I think a town in Finland was doing that too.
Yeah, you can't have that here because it'll impact the healthcare agencies. It'll impact bosses because they'll have to pay a livable wage. If your baseline, if you weren't working out of desperation, you could request higher, you could have better standards for what you need. And it would just slightly inconvenience them. And they don't get that too. That's the frustrating part. If you had a basic universal income and a basic health insurance, even if you're like, well, that'll put all the landlords out of business. That'll put the healthcare people out of business. One, I don't care. If like you make your money on letting people die, fuck you. That's the reality of it. But also, if you had basic healthcare and basic income, they would just have less money. Right. They wouldn't die. They just have less money.
And I think, like, changing any system this dramatically would create a bit of chaos for people who have built their entire lives on the system. But at the end of the day, one generation having to deal with a big change and then everyone else after them just has an easier time. Like, I don't know why that's so complicated. We could have done much of this a long time ago, but instead it's just getting worse and worse. Until what? Until we all fight each other to death over who's the cause of the problems rather than just fixing the problem?
Yeah. Also, if you didn't give money so much power, they wouldn't be able to use that to buy children. I'm going to say that again. You shouldn't be allowed to buy children. That shouldn't have to be a thing that's said.
And you absolutely shouldn't be in a presidential office if there is extensive evidence that you did and you refuse to release it even with a court order that expired 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like, you should not let people die of avoidable diseases, and you shouldn't rape anyone, but especially children. And that's not a whole lot to ask. That's not a radical thing to ask.
I don't think so.
We veered off a little bit, but I think it's relevant, especially to, the vibe that Ren is sending.
Yeah. I'm also very amused at the possums eating the wires. That was absolutely a TikTok thing. If you guys weren't aware, America got rights to TikTok, and now immediately anything related to Epstein is censored on it. I have uninstalled the app.
Same. Which was the same because I liked a lot of the creators there, and I think that they're going to suffer a little bit too, which is unfortunate.
We gotta bring Vine back.
Yes.
Vine had it right to begin with anyways, so let's just get them all popularized on there and try again.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for watching. This is definitely one of my favorites so far. Ren really hyped us up for this being, as exciting as Violet's Tale and Money Game, and he did not disappoint. Don't forget to subscribe to Ren Makes Music and Janky Jolteon. Thank you guys. Until next time.